The worst thing is that people come into a restaurant and say, I can do that at home. Much more than looks, flavour is key. This is produce. It tastes better. He's a bully. You don't see how much they're putting into these young chefs as well. And these exec chefs and head chefs become their mentors and their father figures. For me, the Roux Scholarship is the ultimate competition.
Tactics and mind games.
Yeah, tactics, mind games, everything.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I could train you to do a competition. And you could be competing against Marco Pierre White, wherever. Anybody could win.
Good luck with that. Welcome to Supplied, the podcast about how fresh food gets to us from the people who produce it, move it and cook it. I'm Rob Burton. I've spent over 45 years both growing and then supplying fruit and veg to some of Britain's top restaurants. Now I get the chance to talk to people behind the food we eat. From specialist growers, committed suppliers and Michelin star kitchens, we'll hear how they got started, why they do what they do and the lessons they've learned along the way. So whether you work in fresh food or just care where yours comes from, you're in the right place. This podcast is made possible by Fresho, the order management platform that helps food suppliers run smoother, faster and smarter operations. Now, let's get into the episode. My guest today is Simon Hulstone, who's been the owner of a small family seaside restaurant in Torquay, Devon, called The Elephant for the last 20 years, which is bestowed with a Michelin star. Blessed with a great family, he's the son of a renowned chef and competitor. Simon started his career working part-time in his father's five-star hotel and found the lifestyle and experience was for him. Competitions were a natural progression and Simon has competed and indeed won all around the world representing his country on the world's biggest culinary stages. Not wanting to be known as the chef who could only cook at competitions, Simon has also won accolades from all major restaurant guides and has held a Michelin star for 20 years. Born in Stoke, he's a Coventry City supporter. He has 3 children and a dog, all named after herbs. He's a keen forager, if only to escape the kitchen and relax. Loves art and music. If he does something, he goes full throttle. In his words, I've possibly got HD, but maybe I'm just mental. But on the basis I've known you for 25 years, it's the latter, not the former.
Yeah, you reckon?
Welcome, Simon. Thanks
hey,
for
Rob,
coming.
How you doing? You're right. Thank you.
Good of you to take the time out. So let's start with your story. We've had a brief resume of it there. Talk us through it. Where did it all begin?
So, Dad, really. It all came from Dad. He was a very, very good chef in his day. Still a great cook now. But it was getting a job, the usual work experience, see something. Yeah. And the easiest option whenever is work experience to speak to Dad. So Dad got me into the kitchen, started doing the wash up in a big hotel. And I just enjoyed the sort of banter, the camaraderie, the bitchiness and everything that was going on in the background, to the point that when my father actually left the hotel that he was working at.
Which one was that? Where was it?
It was the Imperial in Torquay.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah,
it's literally a stone's throw from where the restaurant is now that we've got. So, when he left, I carried on working there. And, of course, the exec chef leaves, new chef comes in. All the old chefs have got a gripe on my dad. I'm an easy target.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the banter, your dad was a twat, blah, 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 all this business. And I just
clearly hereditary.
Yeah, absolutely. Loved it. Absolutely loved it, And I just thought that was fun. And the next step then was leaving school and Dad setting me up in a job. So he had a great competitor that he used to compete against in all the competitions, a guy called Freddie Jones, who was based in Croydon. And him and my dad always used to go head-to-head in competitions. One would win the gold wherever they would go. And his son was a year older than me, and he was an apprentice at the Imperial. So he sent me to work for his dad.
Okay.
So it was almost a son swap sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, that was my first foray into kitchens. And my first day, the message from my father to Freddie was, make sure you walk all over him. And what they did was they put me on the floor and the whole kitchen team actually stomped on me.
Nice.
Which was welcome to your first job. Yeah.
Different times, eh?
Yeah, different times.
Yeah.
But I found that was quite fun and I enjoyed it. And I worked in the pastry section actually for my first year. It was just a different time, different sort of setup. The banter, the kitchen brigade size was big, so there was lots of us all the time, lots my age. So it was just a continuation of school a little bit because.
Okay, so did you going back to the banter and the fact that you were stamped upon your first day? Any of that happens now? Could you get away with it
Oh God,
now?
no.
You'd probably be up on a charge.
Yeah, you probably. It's how it's done, isn't it? I think, and how it's brought about, and who the person is, and is it banter or is it malicious? You know, you can have a laugh. But
the trouble is, one man's banter is another man's being malicious.
It is, yeah.
It's difficult.
It's taking it where it is and having a bit of fun, and you see who the person is and what they can take. And, you know, a lot of young chefs, most of us are from, I don't know, sort of broken backgrounds, a lot of chefs, I think. So, you know, you get a lot of dyslexics, you got a lot of ADHD, you got a lot of criminals, you got a lot of, you know, troubled teens.
Sounds like my trade.
Yeah. You know, it's one of those that you either join the army or you became a chef, I think.
Yeah.
And I think going into a kitchen, you had that sort of structure of a senior person who knocked you down and put you back into place. And I think that's what that banter was. It took you from a school teacher that you could mouth back to a little bit, back to somebody who was like, I'm paying you, but I'm also going to be strict and teach you the rules of the world. And, you know, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I do get that.
You know, and you do see, you know, the top chefs, and they pick them out on TV and, you know, oh, he's a bully, he's this and that. But you don't see how much they're putting into these young chefs as well, and training them, and how much shit they're getting, having to look after these young chefs. And, you know, they're coming in, they've been drunk, they've been out, they've been kicked out of their house, they've, you know, they've stolen something. These exec chefs and head chefs become their mentors and their father figures, and, you know, that little bit of banter is, you know. Yeah,
but the trouble is the soft, cuddly stuff doesn't make for good TV or soundbites,
absolutely,
does it?
Absolutely, yeah. So, you know, for me, it was a continuation of school, continuation of home, you know, leaving home at 16, going to Croydon from Torquay. It was brilliant. It was just, you know, it was a new thing. And my college, I went to Westminster College in Battersea, which, oh my goodness, it was like going to a prison. I've never been anything like it. Went through metal detectors to get in.
Really?
The pubs opposite were all barred up, and they passed a drink through a little slot, and I was like, my God, you know, from Torquay to that, and you know, most of the time I used to sit on the train and say, I'm not getting off, and I just go to Victoria and go shopping and down Oxford Street and skip college altogether. And then Freddie would get the phone call a day later, and he'd be like, why weren't you at college yesterday? I'm like, Chef, it's pretty shit, to be honest with you, as 6 of us all filleting one place. And, you know, it's only got 4 fillets on it, so 2 of us are just watching. And, you know, it was, I said, we've just done 200 for prep today, so what are you sending me on my day off to do that for? Yeah.
That was what your sort of apprenticeships was looking like in your early years. So when did you get involved in the competition thing? That
was the Freddie Jones thing again, because of his background. So it wasn't so much about the food in the restaurant back then for me. It was just a job. The sort of highlight was the competitions. That was where we were making our name as a chef.
Yes.
So Selsdon Park, where I was very well known as chefs for competitions because of Freddie Jones. And every member of that kitchen team was award-winning. You know, they'd all won competitions. They'd all been in the British culinary team, etc. So for me, it was natural progression to want to do a competition. And my first competition was it was a mushroom class, 25-minute competition with mushrooms.
Right.
And I remember the dish because I practiced because I was like, I'm going into this. I really want to win. Hotel Olympia was the pinnacle of competitions at the time. My father had never won a gold medal at Olympia, and that was his, you know, goal was to win there. He said, I've never won a gold there.
So was that a target for you?
For me, yeah. And it was also, for him, it was like, I've never won one, and I appreciate that because I've never been good enough, but I've won golds everywhere else. So for me, it was like, right, I've got to get this gold junior class. And I did this dish, and it was a little crouton, and we stuffed a dome full of duck salad mushrooms, smoked cheese, quail egg in the middle, wrapped it in spinach, served it in a tomato sauce around the outside, and it opened up and poured out. God, it's crap when I think back about it now. But, you know, at the time I was like, look at that, that's a work. I think I even feathered the sauce, you know, with a little bit of parsley oil. And I won a bronze medal, and I was chuffed to bits. But because it was like the first competition in the morning, it was 9 a.m., the awards weren't till 4:00. So all this relief came out of me, and I was like, phew, and instantly I was drained, knackered. So of course I went and had a beer. And another beer, and another beer, and then walked around the stands and got a few samples from her. And God, she's good looking. I'll get a sample from that one. And it got to about 4:00, and
I guess you were doing a passable impression of a stroke victim at that point.
At this point, I was fast asleep in the gents.
Yeah.
Fast asleep in the gents. And I totally missed the award ceremony, everything. And it came over the tannoy at Earl's Court. Simon Hulstone, there's Simon Hulstone in the building. And I was like, whoa, here we go, it's awards time. Clean myself up, got my blazer on. We had a nice blazer that we wore. And I walked out of the toilet and there was no one in the building. No one. It was literally the person sweeping the floor, which was just ironic. And then down one end of the corridor was Freddie Jones, and the other end of the corridor was my dad. And I was like,
you're in trouble.
Oh, God, I'm in the shit here, big time. And I didn't know which one to walk towards. And Freddie just says, you're sacked. And I was like, what? Okay. And my dad was like, right, get in the car. And he drove me back to the hotel. And I think I cried all night. And I was like, oh, my God, I've been sacked. And I went to see the chef in the morning, and he went, just get your whites on, you silly twat. And I think I got sacked about 10 times whilst I was there. So once I'd been sacked... 10? Oh, right, I think once I'd been sacked about 3 times, I sort of realised that he just says that.
Yeah,
and I just come back in. But I think the worst part was that there was another chef who collected my medal, and he was in the local paper as Simon Hulstone collected my medal. And that was the most embarrassing part of it, and the most upsetting. So, yeah.
What's the difference between cooking in the kitchen and cooking in a competition?
There is no difference really, because we're cooking.
Yeah.
I think the difference is in a competition, you're not in your comfort zone. You're doing everything yourself. If it's a single competition, not a team competition. But also you're competing against other chefs that might not necessarily cook every day, who've got the opportunity. I would say it's more of a hobbyist thing than actually a job as such. So I could train you to do a competition.
Good luck with that.
Well, I could train you to do a competition, and you could be competing against someone from the Grosvenor House, Marco Pierre White, whatever. It doesn't matter. In that competition, anybody could win.
Yeah.
Because you've been trained to do a dish.
Yeah.
Whereas in the kitchen, it's your professional.
Multitask.
It's professional, yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, even when I'd moved on and gone to other restaurants, we were a little restaurant, and we were competing against the big boys. But the big boys aren't actually that big when they're on their own. And
exactly, yeah.
And they're all beatable, and it's psychological. And I'd won so many competitions that I could almost win a competition before cooking because it would put people off.
Well, that brings me. Remember Johnny Barron?
Yeah.
He gave you a nickname of Trinket. On the basis that when you turned up for a competition, you'd psych the rest of the opposition out because you'd have all this little sort of pop-up kitchen with a miniature version of just about every kitchen appliance there was going, and they'd take one look at you and think, can't handle this.
Yeah, no, they couldn't. It was psychological, and that was probably a good 40% of you winning already.
Yeah.
And I always say that to my guys when I'm training them. You go in there with the psyche that you're better than them.
Yeah.
Which we are. You've got to go in there with that winning
For
mentality.
sure, yeah.
You've got the dish, you've got the capability of doing it. And if you're doing a 3-course meal, you've always got the commentator who's going around going, and on station 1 is Simon cooking this, blah, blah, blah. Make your dish sound good. But if you're doing a 3-course meal, get your starter up first. Because as soon as that starter goes up, the commentator goes, Simon has served on station 1, blah, blah, blah. And everyone looks and goes, Jesus Christ, he served already.
Yeah.
And I always say that if you can get your starter dead on, it's a 2-hour competition, dead on the hour, you've now got another hour to do nothing, just mince around doing your main course and your dessert whilst you're watching all these other guys going for it. Because if all of a sudden seeing this starter go up and go, I've got to get my starter up now. And it just froze them. It froze them.
So sort of tactics and mind games.
Yeah, tactics, mind games, everything.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, your setup, Everything. It's a total mind game. But someone has to win. There's always a winner. And, going through all the competitions I've done, if you've got 6 people in the final, you've got 1 in 6 chance. You've got 1 in 10 chance. You've got 1 in 2 chance. Someone's walking out with the prize. And I've lost as many as I've won. But you don't hear about those ones.
No.
Yeah.
How does that compare then to the Roux Scholarship, which you won in 2003?
2003, yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, if you would, please.
So, for me, the Roux Scholarship is the ultimate competition. It's the best competition. It's the most rewarding competition. It's the most... it gives back every year. There's no competition that I've ever competed in or won or been part of that I'm still part of. It's a pat on the back, a medal, off you go.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
The Roux Scholarship is every year, every day I'm getting messages from the scholars. You have access to 45 of the best chefs in the country. You go on trips. It's the pinnacle of competitions. I can't talk more highly about it.
Clearly means a lot to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think it means a lot to everybody who enters and wins it as well, because there's no ego involved, because everyone who's won that competition is better than you anyway. And the guys that run it, Michel and Alain, they're better than all of us. They've done it, they've proved it. So no one's better than anyone. You can't go in there. Sat Baines is just Sat Baines. Mark Birchall, 3-star Michelin chef. He's a Roux scholar. We're all Roux scholars. So
you've actually forgot to say that Sat Baines is a twat as well, apart from being quite a good chef.
Sat Baines is one of my oldest friends is a twat.
Yeah, I love him a bit. Yeah.
But no, the Roux Scholarship. Back in the day when it was on, is petrifying. You walk into a room, you've got 12 of the best chefs in the world, in the country, judging you. You've got Michel Roux, you've got Albert Roux, you've got Michel Jr., Alain, you've got Gary Rhodes, you've got Rick Stein, you've got guest chefs.
So these were the chefs. Some of those guys have passed since you did it. Yeah.
Yeah, the judges. But these are the people that my father would look up to. Back in the day, there was no social media, so these are the guys that you bought books for. They were on ITV doing their own TV programs. These are the guys that scary, really, really scary. Albert Roux,
fearsome reputations.
Absolutely, and you're cooking for them, and they're walking around, and they give you a classic dish to do that you've never heard of, you can't even pronounce, and they say, right, off you go. You've got 3 hours to cook it, but someone's got to win it.
So you don't know in advance what that dish is going to be. So you turn up and it's like, this is it.
Yeah, it's just an exam. You turn a piece of paper over and they say, this is your dish.
And what information are you then given? Because if you've just said it, if you can't even pronounce it, you won't have come across it before.
It's basically a recipe from a Escoffier. So they'll give you an Escoffier recipe that will be served for maybe 6 to 8 people on a silver platter. With a couple of garnishes that could possibly be your own choice if you wanted them to be, or it was a classic garnish.
And is that format for the competition the same now?
So that has been the format for maybe 35 of the 40 years.
Yes.
So the last 5 years it's changed a little bit.
In what way?
Gone a little bit modern.
Yeah.
A little bit more free reign in presentation.
Yes.
So they give you an idea now. It's normally based around the guest judge, and we've had some amazing guest judges, 3-star chefs from around the world. So they say that this is Joel Robuchon's signature dish. We'd like you to cook something in the vein to impress Joel.
Okay, so it's not the exact recipe.
No,
it's your take on it.
It's gone more take, and I think that is a little bit to do with moving with the times,
of course,
but also to get the younger chefs involved because they're scared. They were scared of the dishes, and
because they're not generally
cooking those
mainstream.
dishes anymore.
They're not done by.
So when my dish came up and it was a veal. It was veal Holstein, so I was like, oh, it's named after me. And it was a rack of veal that we had to take off the bone, braise it, slice it, and then between each slice we had to put a onion bechamel, and then cover it with a truffle sauce and something or other. I had no clue, absolutely no clue. But the chef next to me worked at Claridge's. He goes, oh, we got this on a trolley.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, great.
So he was playing the mind games.
Yeah, he was playing.
Here's
Yeah.
a question: Can you give it as well as take it, or take it as well as give it in the mind game stakes?
Yes,
Has anybody ever
yes,
got really inside your head?
Who's ever got? You know what? I think sometimes I probably got above my own station sometimes, and yeah, I'd say so. And sort of thought, oh, he's rubbish. Don't worry about him. And he's gone on to win. And I'm like, bloody hell, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, no, because I've always gone there to win, and if I haven't won, fair dues. It's,
The judges are wrong. Clearly.
Yeah, the stupid twats. They'll have a complaint and put it in. But no, yeah, it's. Yes, normally someone better's won.
Better on the day.
Yeah, it's on the day, isn't it?
And that's all you can ask for.
And what the judges... It's very much looking... I do my research, so I'll look who the judges are, and I'll look what their backgrounds are and what they like to eat and what they like to cook. And that's part of it as well. It's very much doing that research. There's no point cooking... adding Indian spices to something that Michel Roux's going to taste because he's French classical.
Yeah.
So it's you've got to do that. So if you're going to put something classical on the plate, it's got to be classical. You can't deconstruct something.
No.
That's
not what we've been asked
No,
to do.
no. It's you've got to read it, and again, like doing anything, you've got to read the instructions. You've got to listen to the exam beforehand and do it to what they want. So many people go off piste and try to be Heston Blumenthal in these competitions, and they try to do things that they don't cook normally, or they don't do things that
that's never going
they're
well,
doing in their own
No.
restaurant. Yeah, and I've watched that so many times. Like, what are you doing? He said, "Oh, I saw something in a book," and I'm like, "Why?"
Just only seen it in a book.
Yeah.
Like, never tried it.
I'm doing a souffle. You're sharing an oven with 6 other people. Why are you doing a souffle?
Yeah, how's that going to?
Yeah,
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing a frozen parfait. Do you know there's a freezer there? Oh yeah, never thought of that.
There's an awful lot goes into this.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So,
and that's why I took all my
tactics,
bits, my trinkets
games.
and stuff, because I knew exactly what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how I could go around it.
So, was the Roux Scholarship in terms of competitions, was that in your opinion, your finest achievement, or was it since then? Because that was 22 years ago. Is there anything that you feel where you've topped that, got more personal satisfaction out of it?
No. Roux Scholarship is the one, to be honest with you. I've won National Chef of the Year. I've won National Chef of the Year in various countries. I've done the Bocuse d'Or, which Bocuse d'Or is probably the one that's put me on a pedestal worldwide. I've never won it, but the achievement was being in it. And it was one of those that I was never going to win.
Yeah.
So I was always going to be the Eurovision entrant.
Yeah.
But it was the experience of being in the Bocuse d'Or.
For the benefit of our listeners, can you explain simply what Bocuse d'Or is?
The Bocuse d'Or is a circus of chefs cooking in a highly pressurised environment in front of probably up to 3,000 to 4,000 people, and it's
3,000 to 4,000 people watching
live, and
Goodness.
You've got 24 competitors, 12 each day. And they're the
From
best
all around the world?
All around the world.
Yeah.
They've all competed to get to the final in their own continents. So you've got the best chefs, and you're talking about 3-star Michelin French chefs, 3-star Michelin Swedish chefs, Danish chefs.
People at the top of the game.
Top of the game. And all the judges from each country as well are 3-star Michelin chefs. So, and then of course you've got Paul Bocuse there, R.I.P. But yeah, it's the pinnacle of competitions, but it's not food. It's just not food.
Go on then. What? So it's not food. It's a cookery competition.
It's a cookery competition.
Contradiction in terms.
Yeah, I did it twice, and I really enjoyed it. It was just an amazing experience. But you would never serve any of it in a restaurant. None of it's possible to be served in a restaurant. It would probably be sent back.
Why?
Because it's cold.
Okay.
Most of it's jelly. Most of it's semi-inedible, even though it is judged on taste. But it's pretty. It's very, very pretty.
So is this about
It's art.
Style over substance?
I say so.
Yeah.
And the chefs that go on to win it become superstars in their own right. But it's just not food. It's I can't relate any of the food that I served at the Bocuse d'Or into my restaurant. Everything was artistry. It was culinary art. It was beautiful. It was clever. And I got the best chefs in the UK to help me to design these things. And then I turned it into, I would say they look more like petit fours and chocolate sculptures than they did as a piece of meat. It's very skillful. It's very, very clever, beautiful looking, and it's a show. It's a great show. And, your platters come out and there's 4 chefs carry it and everybody's screaming. The Swedish are banging drums. The Swiss have got the cowbells. The English now have taken their football team, the guys with the trumpets.
Right, sort of a Barmy Army type thing.
Yeah, the Barmy Army thing. Everyone's waving flags. The music's going. There's flares going off. It's absolutely mental. It is crazy.
But
and you've got to cook during this.
Yeah.
5.5 hours.
5.5 hours?
5.5 hours, yeah.
So is it an individual comp or a team comp?
It's an individual, but you're as a team. So you are the competitor, but you have a commis chef and an apprentice who's assigned to you. Mm-hmm. And you also have a manager who stands the other side of the pass and literally says, you should be doing this in the pan. Now, it's robotic. Turn, put this in your pan. Because you've practiced so many times. And the mind games on that are unbelievable. The first time I did it, I knew nothing about it. I had a phone call. I was out for a drive on my scooter, and I got a phone call, pulled over, and it was John Williams at the Ritz, and he said, Simon, do you fancy doing the Bocuse d'Or? And I was like, yeah, all right, that sounds all right. When is it? He says, in 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, yeah.
Somebody's dropped out.
Yeah, someone had dropped out. I was like, yeah, right, yeah, I'll be all right for that. Send me the info. Just a bit of cooking, I can throw that together. So I got the info, got to cook 12 portions of lamb, 12 portions of halibut. Yeah, I'll sort that out. It's in Norway for semi-finals. I'll take a Thermomix. Bet no one's got a Thermomix. So I'm on the aeroplane with my Thermomix, set it up, I bet you bastards ain't got one of those. The Norwegian guy turns up with carpenters, everything. And they built him a kitchen. And it was just like going, I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
So this is where you were on the receiving end?
Yeah, total. Yeah. But prior to that, we'd had this briefing in this hotel room, sort of like this. And there was a big window behind us onto the street. And we're all there and waiting. Bocuse was sat at the front and the judges were all getting ready. And the Norwegian chef hadn't turned up yet. And all of a sudden this lorry came past a window. And it was an articulated lorry with Norway Bocuse d'Or on it, with his face on it. Right behind them all, parked up, and I'm like...
He's won the pissing competition.
Here we go. Yeah. And then he comes in late, walks in, and I'm like...
Bit of a swagger.
This guy's got it, And he was amazing. He was.
Did he win?
Oh, God, yeah. I think he probably got more points than all the rest of us together. It was unbelievable. And this articulated lorry was a kitchen that he'd used to practice in. So wherever he was, he could practice. It was an identical kitchen for the Bocuse d'Or. So he drove that down to Lyon afterwards. And he parked up in the car park and he had a practice in the morning before the competition. And I said to him, how many practices have you done? And he was like, close to 100, 120. And I'm like...
Oh, should have won it then. Yeah.
I'm just like, I've had 2 weeks and I think we've put it together twice and I've got a Thermomix.
But that's there's some serious money involved in doing that. So would they have sponsors to do that?
Yeah, they're throwing money at it. I think when the Yanks did it one year, they had BMW sponsor and people like in Disneyland, and they were in about 2.5-3 million in sponsorship to win a competition that you win 20 grand.
3 million to win 20
grand. They had a kitchen built at the French laundry for him to practice in, and in difference. I didn't see my silver platter until the day. I was practicing on a piece of wood with tinfoil on it.
But the bottom line is...
and I came 5th.
For all this money and resources that goes behind it,
it's just
looks
food.
Amazing, tastes like shit.
I don't think it tastes like shit because I didn't get to taste anyone's food. And the only person who gets to taste anyone's food is a British judge. At the time was Brian Turner. And he's the only one who's tasted it. He's the only one who can give me feedback. And he's like, well, it's just jelly. And you're like... Brian, I need a bit more than that, mate. I need you to tell me what they're doing because they're clearly winning and they've got a formula and we don't know what to get there to win.
Well,
so when I did it the second time...
3 million might help.
Yeah, so when I did it the second time, I used my time and I went around Scandinavia and spoke to previous winners and from the Nordic countries and France, and just tried to get as much information out of them as possible. And it helped. It helped. In the semi-finals, I came fourth. I was a couple of points off the podium. And then in the final, I came, I think it was eighth in the end. But, it was a stepping stone.
Sure.
It was there. And since then, we've gone on to be really, really, really well. And I think I sort of gave the UK team a nice pedestal and got it serious. And the guys now have got their own kitchen at Birmingham College. I think they're at Classic Fine Foods. They've built them one now.
Yeah.
And they've been taken out to work for 6 months and they've been given a salary to practice. And so they're taken away, whereas we closed for 2 weeks in January and I borrowed a chef from the Ritz and we practiced on a piece of wood.
I mean, you mentioned John Williams earlier, and you've just mentioned the Ritz. I was at the Restaurant Awards in May, I think, of this year, and the Ritz was named the best restaurant for those particular awards. What was lovely is that John Williams' face and his reaction, it's like he'd won the lottery.
Oh, I'm not being funny.
He's been around just a few years.
Yeah, I'm not being funny.
It was amazing to see his reaction.
Just unbelievable. And I couldn't think of anyone more deserving. And the way he passed it back onto his team and what they'd done. And it was all about training. And it was everything about that. And he was just doing his job and he'd been recognised for it. Oh, my God, I don't think there was one person in that room who disagreed with anything he said or what he was doing or was envious that he'd got that. And it was a brilliant moment.
It was. It was wonderful seeing his reaction. Just the human side of it was fabulous. Yeah, it was good. Thanks to Fresho for sponsoring this episode. Fresho provides order management and AI order entry software that fresh food suppliers love. From automating how to receive orders to picking, pricing, delivering, invoicing and payments, Fresho makes your business run better. And it's all backed with 24/7 support so you get help when you really need it. To find out more, go to fresho.com. You opened The Elephant how many years ago?
So we've been, it was open a year before I arrived.
Yeah.
So we've been there 21 years this week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 21 years, October.
Why choose Torquay?
Didn't choose, it was already there.
Right.
So,
but you chose to go there.
So I'd left the Cotswolds and I came home, family home.
Where were you? Cotswold House?
Cotswold House, yeah. So I'd left Cotswold House, came back down home, and the caterer at the time was the place to look for jobs. Looked in there and they were looking for a head chef in Torquay. It's a fine dining restaurant, and I just thought there's no fine dining restaurants in Torquay. So I applied for it to find out where it was, because it was inconspicuous. It didn't say what it was, and they said, "Oh, it's this place called the Elephant." I've never heard of it, and my dad said, "Oh, it's somewhere that's open down by the Imperial." So we went for lunch. It was terrible, and I said to Katy, my wife now, I said, "I can do better than this. It's a lovely building,
It is lovely.
Yeah, and I said, I'll apply for it, and that's it. So, rest is history. Within 6 months, we'd won a star. We've had a star now 20 years, and it wasn't expected. It's not something that we worked on. And when we got the star, it was very much, seriously, us? What we got a star for? I'd never worked in a Michelin-starred restaurant. The only Michelin experience I had was from my Roux Scholarship stage.
So going back to that, you went to San Sebastian, as I recall. Yeah, and which restaurant did you go?
So I was the first scholar to not work in France. So obviously Spain was the big thing at the time with El Bulli. But mentally, El Bulli would be absolutely useless for me to work at, because where is doing that sort of food in the UK at the time? And what am I going to gain from a 35-course menu, everything made out of jelly?
So that name again.
So I spoke with Sat, gave Sat a call, who was a scholar, and I said, give me some ideas, chef. I said, I don't particularly want to go to France, because I know some of the scholars have had a bad time being English, being in France, and, picking spinach for the whole time they were there. And he said, there's a place in San Sebastian that's just got 3 stars, Martin Berasategui. So I had a look at his books. Again, no internet really then, so I couldn't really do much. And And I said, oh, let's try that. And one of the selling points for me was that it was closed 3 days a week, but it was closed the days that every other restaurant was open.
Oh, right.
So I could eat everywhere else on my days off without having nothing to do. So I literally completed every Michelin-starred restaurant in Spain in the 3 months I was there. I was doing lunch and dinner 3 days a week at every restaurant in Spain.
Oh, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it.
It was amazing, and that's what I used my scholarship money for. So we got a prize fund. I took my car out to Spain, and every day off I just drove around and ate at another restaurant, took photos. Then Martine would say to me, "Where were you this week?" And I'd say, "Oh, I went to El Bulli, I went to Can Roca, I went to here." And he'd say, "Let me see the photos," and I'd have to print all the photos off. And so he had a folder of every Michelin-starred restaurant's current menus.
How did you ever get into El Bulli? Because it had a reputation at the time where you just couldn't. You couldn't.
No. So at the time, forums were quite big, online forums. So there was a forum called eGullet, which was a foodie forum, which was full of pretentious people who were reviewing restaurants. And I was using it to read and see photos of places. And someone put up that they had a reservation at El Bulli but couldn't go. And I said, "I'll have it."
Yeah.
And it was actually a journalist for the Daily Mirror, I believe, or someone like that.
Hang on, so the Daily Mirror has got a food critic?
Yeah, back then it must have, or a travel critic.
Going to El Bulli.
Yeah.
Red top newspaper.
Yeah.
El Bulli.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I took the reservation.
So you just happened to be online at the right time.
Right time, right place. And I said, "Look, I'm in Spain. I can
Yeah.
do that day. I can get there." I took that reservation and ate at El Bulli, and it was interesting. It wasn't.
Didn't blow your pants off.
No, box ticking. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. More exciting to get the reservation than it was to eat it. Yeah. There was nothing that I've taken from El Bulli that I've ever used.
Oh, okay. That sums it up. Yeah.
There's probably about 4 things I can remember eating, and they weren't very exciting.
So 4 things you can remember, but not necessarily
it was
for a
all
good
very.
reason.
It was very clever.
Yeah,
it just wasn't food.
Yeah. Clever is one thing.
Very clever.
Yeah, I get that.
Very clever. But to eat 4 peeled almonds that have got a different flavour is just like great.
4
thanks
peeled
for that.
almonds.
Yeah.
Going back to the elephant, so did you go in there as a sort of an employee because you own it now, don't you?
Yeah. So I went in as an employee, and then the owners, Peter and Frederica, took a step back, and then myself and Katy and the bar manager sort of took it over as management. So Peter and Frederica still in the background, still held the money, still held the bank accounts, but we ran it as our own. Eventually the bar manager moved on. Me and Katy took it over, and then they got to the point where they said, "We want to retire, we're looking at selling." Yeah. And we was like, "Oh God, what are we going to do? Have we got the money?" And they just gave us an amazing offer, and they were brilliant. They said, "You can pay it back over this long, and if you want to buy the freehold, you can pay this back over so long."
Did you buy the freehold?
We bought everything. We bought everything off them. Yeah,
brave decision.
Yeah.
What made you want to buy the freehold at the same? Did you do that deal at the same time? So yes, we'll buy the business and the freehold. Did you do the things at the same time?
No. So what happened was the building was split into 4 almost. So it was the restaurant. The first floor was another restaurant, our restaurant still, and then there was a house and another house. One house was a staff house and one house was a management house where me and Katy were living. So we bought the house with a mortgage, and then we leased the 2 restaurant parts, and the lease was to last 3 years with the option to buy after 3 years if we could afford it.
Yeah.
And then after that was also the option to buy the freehold. We couldn't afford to buy the staff house, so that was sold separately to someone who turned into an Airbnb, which was a bit of a nightmare because then we had people living next door to us, which I hated.
I bet they weren't keen living next door to you. But
they lived above a restaurant, but it was an Airbnb, so it was people in and out.
Yeah.
So it didn't really affect them. But it came to a point where we had to buy them out. We needed to buy it. So, and it was COVID. We made a lot of money over COVID. And we
made a lot of money over COVID.
Yeah, made a lot of money.
Vast majority of businesses, to put bluntly, took one up the bum during COVID.
We came out of it mortgage free.
So why?
Because we worked our nuts off.
Doing what? How did you make it work?
From the second day, we started doing takeaway foods, and that was due to the fact of having a fridge full of food coming up to Mother's Day and being closed down. And I just said, would anybody like their Mother's Day put into a plastic container and you can reheat it at home? And it went from 20 people the first week to 300 people within 2 weeks.
Goodness
and we were doing 900 people a week for the whole of COVID. And
just so you peaked out and it just kept going.
We had queues down the road. COVID didn't hit us in Devon. COVID hit us when everyone came off COVID and then came on the UK breaks.
Yeah.
Because everyone came on holiday and they brought COVID with them. During COVID, there was nothing going down in Devon. It was sunny days, lovely beaches. It was the best. Honestly, it was. I know people were ill and a lot of people lost, but
you can only speak from your own experience.
From my own experience, we had the best time. I had family time. We'd go down the beach in the afternoon. No one on the beaches. We'd go to Dartmoor for a walk. No one in Dartmoor. It was just. We had almost 6 months of just enjoyment and money. We were making a lot of money. We were charging £15-20 for a 2-course meal. That was just to be reheated at home. I gave them instructions.
Doesn't sound like a lot of money.
There was no VAT as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no VAT. So we didn't have any bills to pay.
Yeah.
We owned the building.
Yeah.
No rent. All the staff were on furlough. So that was covered. So everything that came in was ours. All the suppliers were supplying us because they had no one else to supply. All the other restaurants were being lazy. They weren't doing anything. They just shut the doors. They weren't. And we made so many friends, so many contacts, and we supported our community by having this restaurant running. And it was almost like a meeting point that we'd have all these people having a little chat. But we'd be finished by 3:00 because they'd pick it up between 1 and 3. 3:00 finished. It was summer. It was daylight till 9:00. And then it was family time. And my kids were running the front. They'd pass the food out so they get to know all the customers. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting you're saying about a meeting point because, necessity is the mother of invention. And what we started doing home deliveries of fresh produce in London. And then my wife hit upon the idea. She said, why don't we offer it to the golf clubs in our area, both members of the same golf club.
Yeah.
The demographic is sort of the sort of people that really didn't want to go to the shops, the more mature person. So we launched this online thing, and it was spectacularly successful. Yeah. We weren't necessarily making money, but what we were doing was mitigating the losses. It made a really useful contribution. But every Friday I'd drive from London back to Birmingham and we'd go around, I think 4 golf clubs and a tennis club. They all had the 30-minute delivery slot. They'd all ordered online. They'd all paid for it. Yeah. But what was interesting is that people used it as a reason to go out, as a meeting point.
That's what it was.
And people would happily stand around and just chatting to each other. A metre apart, chatting.
Absolutely.
And they were absolutely loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't do delivery. We only did collection. Yeah. And it wasn't until the second lockdown where people caught on to that we need to make some money now, that people started doing the postage, and Amazon was delivering everywhere, wasn't it, by this point?
Yeah.
So the second and third lockdown, we didn't make as much money, but by that point we'd done what we needed to do. And we also introduced the restaurant to so many people who were scared to eat at the restaurant previously.
Yes.
Because they thought we were this
fine dining.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden they were having elephant restaurants at home. And, we had customers that were keeping all the recipes and the cooking and making their own little cookbooks from it. We've got the elephant cookbook here. And it was really nice.
Unforeseen
and I was cooking dishes I hadn't cooked forever. I was doing nice braises. I was doing veal ossobucos and things like that.
Things that could easily be reheated.
It was aeroplane food. And I'd had that background from working with British Airways and having the reheat sort of setup. And
so you've done some work with BA?
BA, and I'm working with Delta at the moment.
All right. Are you working with... So what does that look like? What do you have to do?
It's designing food for first class, business class that is reheatable. For me, it's about comfort. Everything, you're flying in a tin can. You can't sit there and have a fine dining meal.
No.
If anything, you want something that makes you feel comfortable. So for me, it goes back to school dinners, and I like to do something that really gets people comfy in the seat and they're in an awkward situation. If you're in business class or first class, you more than likely have already eaten in the lounge.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah,
that's right.
And you can taste the food.
Yes.
In the aeroplane, your taste buds are nullified. It's a time passer. That's all it is. Food, you don't really want it, but it takes up half an hour of the flight.
Yeah, it's something to do, yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it's very much about making comfort food. So it was, roly-polies and things like that. And we get so much good feedback from doing stuff without being pretentious.
Is there much of a difference between what BA needed you to do and what you're currently doing with Delta? Or is it basically the same thing?
It's basically the same thing. It's all about money. Who pays the most to the contract caterers and what the budgets are. Yeah.
So, I mean, do you have any idea of what an airline might pay for a meal to serve in business class? Just curious. You might not.
I sort of know how much my dishes cost, and I think that's sort of mixed around. I'm not allowed to say.
No, okay.
But you've got to think that first class that have 12 people in it, they're going to have 2-3 glasses of wine, glass of champagne for food. I'd say you're probably working about £25 a head cost. And there's all the other little bits and pieces.
Let's not forget the nuts. Then pretzels.
Well, you're not nuts anymore. You're not really allowed to have them on the aeroplane. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, all those little things. But they all cost.
Yeah.
It's a cost, but it's also something that's got to be taken off the plane afterwards because every plane refills it. They don't top up 2 packs of nuts. All those nuts get taken off the plane. So if you go to the big contract catering factories, there's just piles and piles of mini cans because they haven't got time to sort it out. That all gets given to the staff or charities, whatever. Yeah.
Tom, I'm intrigued. What's it like getting supplies of ingredients, produce in Turkey? Because in London you can get what you like when you like. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
But Turkey, what's it like?
To be honest with you, we've really struggled the whole time we've been there getting quality produce.
Yeah.
Mainly because there's no market for any of the suppliers to be down there.
Nearest market is Bristol.
Bristol,
market,
but also there's no market as in other restaurants that want the same as what we want.
Yeah.
So there's no journey for them.
So how do you make it work?
We're buying a lot of our stuff direct. Because obviously Devon is some of the best produce in the country. It's a larder for the rest of the country. So we've got fantastic fish, we've got fantastic meat, we've got fantastic farms. So it's pretty much learning about the seasons and knowing where to get it from. So we're dealing direct a lot of the time with the farms, the fishermen, even growing it on our own sort of farmland that we've got.
Oh, you're growing some of your own?
Yeah. So
what particular products?
Well, we don't...
And don't say herbs.
We don't know. So we had 96 acres.
96 acres?
Which was my old business partner's home. And we had 4 polytunnels on there.
Yeah.
Pigs, chickens, ducks, turkeys, and sheep. Yeah.
Right. So you say you had. So
we stopped doing it. When they retired, they couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. A lovely story, but very hard work. Hard work for them.
Yes.
Hard work for us because we'd get no strawberries one week and then we get 200 kilo.
Yeah.
And then we'd have no one booked that week or anything to do with the strawberries or we hadn't changed the menu.
Yeah.
And then it's pickling, preserving, jamming and all that sort of thing. And young chefs are just a pain in the arse. You know, if the carrot's not straight, it doesn't look like all the carrots in Sainsbury's. It gets binned. And I'm like, no, this is produce. This is what it tastes better.
Yeah.
But you've got that mindset of a Michelin star restaurant that everything has to look the same on the plate, consistency.
Yes, of course.
But flavour's the main thing, much more than looks. Flavour is key.
Yes.
So it was hard getting that mentality round things. And there's also a lot of waste in growing your own as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because you're clearing away the outer leaves and the mud and all that bits and pieces. Yeah. It was hard work. So once they retired, we retired the farm as well, which was a shame. But we'd also got to the point where we knew what we needed at what sort of time and what amount and commodities that we needed to get. So we knew where to get these things from, and we've now got a fantastic asparagus provider.
Yeah.
I do a lot of foraging, so I know where all the mushrooms are in season, even a few wild herbs and berries and things like that we can pick up ourselves. But we'll write the menus literally around seasons. Suppliers we use to top up.
So in terms of suppliers, so I'm guessing there's enough of suppliers, but because of the standard of cuisine that you're producing, they don't have the products that you need because there isn't many elephant type restaurants in the air.
And we're trying to be unique as well.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing is that people come into a restaurant and say, I can do that at home. And you've got to, and the supermarkets are so good now that you can cook like a chef at home because the ingredients are amazing that you can pick up.
Yes, but the point is, you're a professional chef, and I'm not. So we might have the two lots of ingredients, and mine will taste like shit, and yours will be fine.
But you also want someone to come in for something that they've not seen before or not tasted before, and something that's unique. So, to be fair, the internet's our friend at the moment. We can buy individual things and get it posted and be with us the next day. So a lot of dry goods, a lot of things like garlic stalks and things like you can contact the farms and they'll send them out to you, and it'll come via that.
So you have to work a little bit harder and think a little more creatively to get what you want, as against just picking the phone up. And just ordering it from one supplier. And
social media is absolutely brilliant for this because everyone's promoting themselves. So you can see things that are coming up. Suppliers we've got this in. You're like, brilliant, it's in season. Let's get that.
Yeah.
And you just send them a private message. Could you send us 2 kilos of those? Yeah, I'd love to. And it's social media has changed everything really for chefs. And it's great. Yeah, it's also a curse, to be honest with you.
Well, yes, it's a double-edged sword, for sure.
It's toxic. You've got to play it properly.
Yeah,
and you've got to be careful what you say, what you do, how you portray yourselves, and again, it's going back to the banter thing. If it's in black and white, you obviously mean it. Well, not really. It's you've got to read your tweets, your messages 3 or 4 times to think, who am I going to offend with this?
Yes. Well, the answer is it's going to be somebody.
Someone's going to get offended.
That's for sure.
Yes, 100%.
But I take the view that they'd rather read that than be blind. So take your pick.
You're following me at the end of the day.
Exactly. It's your choice. I didn't make you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's hard and it does affect, and you get nasty messages sent to you and people being horrible, and it's not nice.
Personal messages directed at you?
Yeah, you're a ginger dickhead. What's all this?
Well,
what's all this?
They're not wrong though, are they? They're not wrong.
But especially when you do TV programs, like if I go on to like James Martin or something like that, you'll get people just commenting. What's that he's wearing? What's this he's doing? Oh, I could do that. And, God, has he got a football match after this? Is he going to go Millwall and make an omelette? Like, yeah, mate, yeah, of course I am. Yeah.
Do you get many negative, false reviews of people online?
Online we have had.
Yeah.
And my wife's actually banned me from replying to them now.
She's a good judge.
She's she's clever, and I owe a lot to her, but I'll still be a pain in the arse when I need to be. But I do reply to the TripAdvisors when they're wrong.
Yeah,
and I like to reply to them, and I am sarcastic, but I'm also protecting my team because it can be really upsetting for a member of staff to be named and shamed online and said, oh, the waitress was horrible and she didn't do this, and you're like, she's a lovely girl, what are you on about? Why didn't you say something like that online? We could start moaning about what you look like and that you didn't flush a toilet when you went into the bathroom and things like that. It's you left a big skid mark.
I take the view that if ever I go anywhere and I feel there's some constructive critique to be offered, I'd want to say it to somebody.
I think
because then a conversation can be had.
Yes, yeah.
But just making a statement And things can get lost in translation as well.
Totally.
If somebody's not
Totally.
particularly good at,
And it's who they've asked in the restaurant. Sometimes the questions that they complain about, they've asked a junior member of staff that doesn't know the answer, and then they've taken it personally and they're gone on. We get some really weird. TripAdvisor's probably the worst, but you get really good comments as well, and then I need to reply to them because their really good comments were sometimes wrong. And you're sort of like, I'm sorry, but you've got that wrong, but thank you for the nice comments. Yeah. And, we don't really want praise and we don't want negativity. I think it's just easier, just don't say anything.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Just leave it alone. And as soon as people have eaten, they can write a review. And all your online bookings now will say, how was your meal? Straight afterwards, and you can write a review. And, we get notifications and all my staff can see it. And, it's heartbreaking a lot of it when you see it, but it's also moral building when you get good ones.
Yeah,
like guys, look, they absolutely loved it. They loved that dish. That dish I said I hate, they loved it. The customers love it. I hate it. Yeah. We've got to keep it on now. But it's great. But I just we do what we do, and we're very happy what we do. And if the customers weren't coming, there was something wrong. Yeah. And we change.
Of course, yes.
But, to be told that, we had to go to McDonald's afterwards because we weren't full. And you're like, mate, you came in, you had one course.
Yeah, so you're not going to be full.
And it cost this much money. And this was like, well, how much does it cost for a plumber to come out for an hour to fix your sink? Yeah. It's a £90 call out. So you've just sat down, we've fed you, we've watered you, we've treated you like a king. You've been with us for 2 hours. That's 40 quid an hour you've paid for us to do that. Yeah. And you've left with your stomach full. You've paid a plumber 80 quid to change a washer. Yeah.
It's a good, great analogy. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We're providing a service.
Yeah. Okay. When I saw you, was it last summer we were down at your place? I think it was, yeah. I think you'd been, would have been May of that year, you were doing some cooking at the Kentucky Derby.
That's right, yeah.
How did that come about?
That was actually via Delta. So I was out in Atlanta at one of the meetings for the Delta culinary team. And one of the ladies of the team said, I'll introduce you to this lady, Gina Berry, who's a big foodie in the Atlanta scene. She was, a lovely, lovely lady. And she said that we do the Kentucky Derby every year, and it's the 150th anniversary. And we want to link with all the Road to Derby, Derby, Road to Derby race courses. So Newmarket is one of the races that is classed as a point gainer to get to the Kentucky Derby. Yes. So that was that was my link.
It's sort of a win in your in type thing.
Yeah. So you've got to gain so many points to be able to get to the Derby. Yeah. And it's it's always these Dubai and Japanese horses and obviously the American ones as well. And they said, we'd like an English chef to go out. And I said, absolutely. What an experience. And we were treated like royalty. We did a charity event 2 days before, and then we were given free rein at the Derby. We're on Millionaires Row. We were right on the finish line. Amazing. I was betting $3 a race, and there was guys next to me putting $100,000 down in cash. Oh, my God. There was people with piles of money on their table. And it's all cash. There's no card, nothing. It's all cash.
I mean, to be fair, going to the Kentucky Derby is something sort of on my bucket list to go. It's called the Race for the Roses. Yeah. And I've been to a number of race meetings over the world. Melbourne Cup, for instance, was a great day out. But I would love to go to Kentucky for that, just to see it, because I understand there's sort of two parts to it. There's the nice bit where you were, and then there's the infield where it's a bit like being at a zoo.
Well, you know what? I didn't see any problems. Everybody there was dressed to the nines, all in their seersuckers, and then it was really cool. Everything was free. All the drinks were free for everybody. All the food was free, and no one was an idiot.
Right.
And I just thought, this is not how it's done. I'm like, all these mint juleps going everywhere.
Yeah, I think just that's the one, isn't it? Mint julep, that's the drink,
But wow, there was no problems at all. I didn't see anything, and there was 250,000 people there.
Yeah, it's a big event.
Oh God, it was just unbelievable. Yeah, it was an event, and it was just, and we also went in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning to see the horses warming up. Yeah. We went round the back or something they call it. So we went round all the stables and they had him on the thing, and it was just amazing watching all this morning steam coming off these horses, and just we would just
Great experience.
Amazing experience.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Question just about your children's names. You mentioned you said and the dog. They're all after herbs.
Yeah.
Go on then. What are the herbs?
So it came about.
Yeah. How is it interesting?
Yeah. So my eldest daughter's called Tansy.
Yeah.
So Tansy's a wild herb.
Okay.
And it's also a competition dish that myself and my father used to compete with, a tansy pudding.
Yeah.
Which is a rose and almond tansy pudding. It's a bread pudding with rose petals through it. Bit of tansy, not too much because it's...
What's tansy?
Tansy's a herb.
Okay.
But it's medicinal, so it's not really used anymore. It's one of those herbs that was used back in the 18th century as food, but then as you got through the years, they realised it's not that good for you.
Yeah.
But the pudding was still called a tansy pudding, but without the tansy.
Okay.
And we've done very well from it. And when the first daughter came up, I said, let's call it tansy. It's a different name.
Okay, so that's the reason for that.
So
one.
she's
Next
called
one?
Tansy Etoile. So Tansy Star. So she's got a French middle name.
Yeah.
She was born the week after we got the Michelin star.
Right, yeah.
So Tansy Etoile. Then we had the sort of next daughter, oh God, we've got to carry it on sort of thing. So she's called Sicily. So
Yeah.
Sweet Sicily.
Yes. Is she sweet?
No, so the sweet part's definitely gone. Yeah. So we scrapped the sweet part once she was born.
Yeah.
So Sweet Sicily.
Yeah.
She's middle name's Anne. Anne was the daughter. Katy, my wife, wanted a ginger daughter, curly-haired daughter, looked like Annie.
Well,
Yeah.
back that up a bit.
Yeah.
You actually wished for a ginger
I
child,
know.
knowing all the persecution
all the
you've had
things.
through your life. I mean,
Yeah.
for the benefit of our listeners,
Yeah,
when I first met Simon, I mean, he was more ginger than ginger.
Yeah.
And he was one of life's victims as a result.
Yeah.
And you're telling me you wish that to happen to one of your children?
I did not. No, the wife wanted a ginger daughter that looked like Annie. I said, Annie's an orphan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Annie's an orphan, and bizarrely, Annie's not Annie anymore. Annie's, a little black girl now, isn't she? of the remake. And I said,
Yes.
if we have a little black girl, there's going to be problems. There's going to be, DNA tests going on. And then our last daughter is called Bethany. So, so Bethany Melise, and
Right.
another little
And the
herb.
dog's name?
Parsley. Yeah.
I don't know.
Parsley bouquet.
God. Do you remember a program called The Herbs, or are you too young for that?
I think I know it.
Oh,
right.
Fabulous when I was a kid. Yes, there was characters in this this children's program all named after herbs.
Yeah.
Different
Yeah,
again.
but we found out
fabulous.
there's a lot of older generation people called Sicily and Tansy and Bethany.
Yeah.
And I think there's something called the Flower Fairies as well, which was some lady. She was actually called Sicily, the lady, and she had loads of these flower fairies, and they were books that she wrote, and the names of there. But I think if we'd had a son, everybody wanted to call Basil because we'd have
absolutely.
Yeah, because Fawlty
Why wouldn't you?
Towers.
Fawlty Towers was
yeah,
in
yeah.
there.
So it was going to be
absolutely,
Basil.
It was a shoe in that was for
or
sure.
Dill.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I won't treat you to, because I can remember the little song that Dill the dog used to sing in the Herbs program, which I won't do.
Yeah. So anyway, we got four herbs.
Yeah.
4 herbs, 4 girls. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If there was, you've obviously dined around a lot over the years in some, I guess, some spectacular places. If there was one restaurant that you could go back to, and just the one, which one would it be and why?
I think it's very hard because there is more than one.
You can only have one.
Yeah. I'd probably go back to Ducasse and Monte Carlo.
Okay, interesting.
Just because it was so overwhelmingly posh. And it was just everything that you had to show off. It was just opulence. And it was just after I'd won the Roux Scholarship, and Michel Senior actually got me the reservation in there. And we were greeted by the chef. All the chefs who were waiting for us all stood in a line with their big white hats on. We'd had a glass of champagne in the bar beforehand. We were a bit tipsy, and it was just, oh my God, they're waiting for us. They're not doing this for anyone else. Then we got a tour of a kitchen, and it wasn't just a tour of a kitchen. It was, this is what's in this fridge, this is what's in this fridge, and we're like tottering around like, oh my God, all these chefs and all this attention. And then he said, Chef Alan would like to cook for you this evening. And I'm just like,
you're joking.
My God.
That's like having God cooking your tea.
Absolutely. And all I thought was, how much is this going to cost me?
Yes.
How much is this going to cost me? I can't say to Katy, we're screwed. We're in Monte Carlo. And we were absolutely blown away. And I don't think we could repeat that meal. And the food wasn't amazing. It was great, but it wasn't amazing. It's just everything.
The whole deal.
Yeah, and I think it was everything that was with it that made it the best experience. And they made us feel like we were $1 million, and we weren't just a scummy young chef from England and his wife that had come away for a dirty weekend in Monte Carlo.
Did you ever come with me to the Plaza Athénée?
I did, yeah.
So, and that's a Ducasse,
yes,
3 stars. Much difference between the two?
Yeah, the one in Paris looked like Gap. It had
was
those
a
horrible
shock. It
had those horrible pictures on the wall that looked like it was
you're right.
Gap, yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of food
is very similar. The only difference was that the food in Monte Carlo was more Mediterranean based, whereas in Paris it was very much more Nouvelle classic sort of pure French, whereas it had a lot more mix of the sunshine down in Monte Carlo.
Yeah, I mean, I do get the emotions you were feeling that you felt in Monte Carlo, because I got that at Paris, because I'd just never been anywhere that did it like that.
Oh,
I mean, okay,
absolutely.
Yes, they're right. The decor of the dining room was particularly shit.
But it was also, we were eating the food, and I said to him, "Am I okay taking a photo?" Because I had my camera, not phone, but a camera. And he said, "Yes, but we'll need to stand next to you when you take the photo." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Why is that?" He said, "There's a lot of people in here with people they shouldn't be with." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, okay, right."
Circa Coldplay kiss cam.
Yeah. So, who would I go with?
Who would you go with? Yeah, we talked about this earlier. Let's have a think about it. Rick Mail.
Yeah, because he'd turn something like that into an absolute farce.
Yes.
And I think, back in the day, Rick Mail was my idol, and I would have done anything to swap my dad for Rick Mail. I wanted to come home from school and have Rick Mail as my dad, and I just wanted him to, tell me to fuck off all the time. And he was just everything. I just wanted. Yeah, I could sit there and listen to Rick Mail all day long. Yeah, he was a very interesting character. Yeah. Quite complicated, I think, as well. Complicated. I've read into him since, and I've read a couple of autobiographies of his friends, and he never really got. He was, kicked out of quite a lot of things, and he'd lost his way a lot. Yeah, he lost his way, which is sad, and he passed away too young as well. He did. Yeah, down in Devon. Yeah. He hadn't eaten the elephant, had he? No. He has eaten at the elephant, but he actually filmed one of the comic strips down in the elephant. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Simon, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I mean, we've known each other a long time, but I've learned so much more about you today. Yeah. And I've thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing. Yeah. All I can say is thank you so much for coming. No problem, Rob. Yeah, greatly appreciated. No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for listening to Supplied. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and follow Supplied Podcast on Instagram, where we'd love to get your questions and suggestions for future guests. See you next time.